Everyone, I just want to jump on here and give you a few pointers for this module. It's a little complicated. You can see that we're entering into our collaborative modules for this course. So we've talked about online discussions, which doesn't necessarily require collaboration, and now we're talking about projects that really require a lot of meaningful collaboration with students. And so we're going to try to figure out what makes good collaboration and what makes poor collaboration. When we're done, we'll create a guide that kind of helps students and teachers through this process. What's a little complicated is where do you find the things that you need to submit. And so basically just read through everything carefully and you'll find those, but I thought I'd give you a heads up on some of these things. So the first thing I want you to do is please schedule time to meet next week. So we're going to have a synchronous meeting. I have a doodle form right here. And you'll see that I have some options for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll meet for about an hour-ish. And then the next thing I want you to do is to submit the Sabertooth Curriculum Reading Guide. If you recall, starting at the very start of the semester, I've been asking you to read the Sabertooth Curriculum, and then there's a reading guide that you fill out. Well, here you're going to submit that. So just kind of write a submission and then put a link to your reading guide in there, and then submit that. Now, once you've submitted it, then let me just test this out. Okay, so now I'm going to submit, and then you'll notice once I submitted that, then you should see this Sabertooth Curriculum discussion board. So you have to submit the reading guide before you participate in the discussion board, and then at the discussion board, by Thursday, you should create a thread to the post answering these questions, and then by Sunday you should have the replies, and then also you should reply to your own thread to kind of cap off the discussion. In your initial post, be specific. So use the examples from the book, and then also you're going to be applying that to your teaching context or your experience teaching. In that phase, you need to be specific as well. And then you'll see that there are a couple learning modules here. So the first one is What Society Needs, and that's a quote from Sabertooth Curriculum. And in here there are 3 pages. We talk about what an educated man or woman is, based on the book of Sabertooth Curriculum. And then I've got some examples of what society doesn't need anymore necessarily, and how technology and automation is kind of replacing some of the quote-unquote unskilled labor. And then this is a classic video on what society needs in kind of the 21st century workplace. And in here you'll watch this, and as you do, I want you to make notes on the different skills that you're seeing. And then you'll need to list 4 or 5 skills on this Padlet. So if you've never used Padlet before, you just hit the plus arrow, and then you can type something there, right? So that's pretty self-explanatory, but you need to know that Padlet's there. So again, you just need to read everything carefully. And then this is a big one that I want you to start thinking about right away. So there's design thinking, and we're going to learn about what design thinking is. One part of design thinking is you need to be empathetic to your users. So in our case, we need to be empathetic to students and to teachers. And so one way to do that is to kind of observe or to talk with them and things like that. So this week, what I really want you to do is talk to students and teachers and just ask them, you know, when you have a collaborative project, what are your biggest challenges? What are the biggest drawbacks of those things? And then when we meet next week, we'll come together and we'll talk about those, and then maybe brainstorm some possible solutions for that. So I do want you to take notes of your challenges in a Google Doc. So just create your own Google Doc and then share that with my Gmail account. And that's due with everything else at the end of the week, so by September 25th. The other thing is, with this learning module, there isn't anything you need to turn in, but you're going to start reading about problem and project-based learning. They're very similar, but I've tried to find some resources to kind of help you out. In this one, it's IJPBL is a journal that focuses entirely on problem-based learning, and so there is one article I link here that I'd like you to read. Then I also want you to find your own articles that are specific to your content or something that really piques your interest. And then with project-based learning, I have some links. Some of these links compare project and problem-based learning, so that's quite helpful. But those comparisons can be challenging because not everyone agrees on what they are and the differences between them. Now with this, I highly recommend you take notes. You're going to use that for the project we'll be doing and we'll be discussing in our synchronous meeting. So you need to remember what you've read in these things. So take your own notes. You don't need to share those with me or the group yet, but you will need them. Okay, that's it. If you have any questions, just let me know. Don't wait to start this module. You should start it early this week. And at least be aware of the different activities that you'll need to do, especially this design thinking challenge where you're going to have to talk with people in your building. So be aware of what's due, and there is a midweek deadline for the discussion board activities, so make sure you get on that as well. So please let me know if you have any questions, and I'm here to help. Thanks.